Danny, because I've got to get rid of this silk above us. We all go to the other end of the platform. Dan, please.
Right now, first years this way. Come on now, hurry up. First years, come this way, please. Come on now. Come on. Oh, hello, Harry. Right then, follow me.
Welcome to your first flight. Well, what are you waiting for? Everyone step up to the left side of their broomstick. Come on now, hurry up. Stick your right hand over your broom and say up. Now with feeling. Concentrate, concentrate.
No, he's wrestling with it. He's wrestling with it.
Will he be down?
He's right here. He's right in the corner frames. He goes up with it, up, and then back down, back over here. Then you're coming too far up that way. Okay, cut.
Shooting now.
Someone's going to try and steal it.
I don't know how you three found out about the stone, but I assure you it is perfectly well protected. Now, will you please go back to your dormitories? Quietly.
We have to see Professor Dumbledore immediately.
I'm afraid Professor Dumbledore is not here. He received an urgent owl from the Ministry of Magic and left immediately for London.
And action!
That was no stranger Hagrid met in the village. It was Snape, which means he knows how to get past Fluffy. And with Dumbledore gone...
Good afternoon. Now, what would three young Gryffindors such as yourselves be doing inside on a day like this?
We were just...
You want to be careful. People will think you're up to something.
God.
The Sorcerer's Stone is a legendary substance with astonishing powers. The stone will transform any metal into pure gold and produces the elixir of life, which will make the drinker immortal. Immortal? It means you'll never die. I know what it means. The only stone currently in existence belongs to Mr. Nicholas Flamel, the noted alchemist, who last year celebrated his 665th birthday. That's what Fluffy's guarding on the third floor. That's what's under the trapdoor. The Sorcerer's Stone. That's what Fluffy's guarding on the third floor. That's what's under the trapdoor. The Sorcerer's Stone. So Flamel knows someone's after the stone, gives it to Dumbledore to keep safe at Hogwarts.
I hope each of you...
Trevor! Sorry.
I hope each of you will be worthy of the house which is yours.
It's true then, what they're saying on the train. Harry Potter has come to Hogwarts. This is Crab, Goyle, Mom Malfoy, Draco. Think my name is fine, do you? Hearing to ask yours, red hair, freckles, and a hand-me-down robe. You must be all wasted.
For a glimpse into how it's done. And we'll join Daniel, Rupert, and Emma sharing stories about growing up Harry, Ron, and Hermione as the adventure continues. Inside Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
So we'll have just a quiet year at Hogwarts.
In the spring of 2004, the sprawling complex of sound stages at Leavesden Studios came to life as director Mike Newell began production on J.K. Rowling's fourth adventure, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Hi, Harry.
I think of the 4 films is the biggest and greatest adventure. It's the ultimate thriller, which is fantastic. It's so good.
It's got wonderful set-piece scenes. There are dragons and there are underwater terrors and there's Lost in the Maze.
The world is beginning to expand and we get a real sense of just how large the Wizarding World is.
There are lots of new characters introduced.
This strapping lad must be Cedric, am I right?
Above everything else, there is the appearance of the true villain for the first time, actually, in his own self.
Harry in particular is growing up. In fact, Ron and Hermione too. And it's great, I have to say, to be around Dan, Rupert and Emma, seeing them grow, seeing their interests develop.
It was only a few short years ago that the 3 young stars were introduced to the world. 3 movies later, Dan, Rupert, and Emma have come a long way. Let's step back in time for a glimpse to where it all began.
There must have been hundreds of millions of people that all auditioned. And they chose me.
He's right here. He's right in the corner frame.
It takes an actor of great depth and intelligence to play that role. And Dan Radcliffe is the only 11-year-old I've ever met who has that quality. And you just see it in his eyes. This is a really deep soul.
I was one of the biggest Harry Potter fans ever. And just to play Ron in the Harry Potter film has really been fantastic.
And with Dumbledore gone,
Good afternoon.
I was like, oh my god, I just stood there. Thought, no, this is all a dream, pinch me. And then it all started happening. Petrificus totalis.
It's all a little scary sometimes.
We tested a lot of kids, and once we saw these 3 kids on screen together, we realized that there was an enormous amount of chemistry between them, and we thought, these are the kids.
Harry's first year gave way to a second, and the Chamber of Secrets revealed its deadly mystery. Harry and friends grew up, and so too did the stars of the movie.
I was watching Dan and Rupert standing there, and I thought they don't stand like wee boys anyway.
Really scared down here. It's fantastic. You guys just naturally ended up there, which is great.
Me, Rupert and Emma and some of the other kids have developed really strong bonds now as well.
What's going on? What's happening?
Second year became the third. Harry confronted the evils of Azkaban, and a new director took the helm.
Harry Potter and together with his friends there growing up. Go for it.
Yeah? Cool. We're the same age, practically at the same time. So I think we're experiencing a lot of the same feelings, and so I think I can associate with them, really.
The relationship between the 3 kids has changed. They're much older, and that really shows in all sorts of different ways.
They're teenagers, and I think there's sort of an ongoing stress. A lot is put on the relationship between the 3 of them, and they really rely on each other.
Now, in the 4th and biggest adventure to date, Harry and his friends are children no longer and facing greater challenges than ever before.
The stories are becoming more complex, darker, and the kids are at an age where they're taking on much more. They can comprehend a great deal.
The task is 2 days from now.
Really? I had no idea.
At over 730 pages, The Goblet of Fire was J.K. Rowling's longest book to date, big enough for 2 feature films. The filmmakers narrowed the focus of their narrative.
There was one side of the book which you could string the pearls on, which was the thriller side of the story.
What is it I'm seeing when I dream? What do they mean?
It's a nightmare come to life. Voldemort, the Dark Lord, who was cast down 13 years ago, has been revived by his dark followers.
You don't see him, but you see his hand. He's in a chair at the beginning. You just sense his presence in a big armchair.
There is a terrible, murderous plot, but you don't know what it is.
As if in warning, Harry's scar screams in pain.
And when I woke up, my scar was stinging.
All he knows is that his scar hurts like hell. And the scar and the hurting of the scar and the dreams that he has while the scar is troubling him, they form a kind of chain of stepping stones through the story.
And what lies ahead are dark things. Voldemort, the Death Eaters, the world as it was 14 years ago. Those were not good times, and we're on the precipice of times again that could be like that.
Worse for Harry, the walls that have guarded him and the protectors who have seen him through are crumbling in the face of evil.
There is something that is getting to Harry, that is trying to get to Harry, that has infiltrated Hogwarts.
I think that whatever's happening, it's bigger than this. And I really think you should go to Dumbledore.
Harry's world's completely shaken because Dumbledore, for the first time we see him as an old man who's not at the height of his abilities anymore.
Mike said to me, this is a film in which Dumbledore is no longer in control. He is frightened. He doesn't know what to do.
This can't go on, Albus. First the Dark Mark, now this.
What do you suggest, Minerva?
That's a big thing for Harry because it completely, as it would anyone, unsettles him, and so he kind of loses control of it.
With danger spiraling out of control and challenges beyond anything he's faced yet, Harry has to find the courage from within to see the adventure through.
Harry is a noble, spiritual warrior. Harry does the right thing, and we would all like to think that we always do the right thing, but we don't.
Dragons. That's the first task. They've got one for each of us.
Even though there is a really dark part to it, it still has this fantastic sense of humour.
Is that a student? Technically, it's a fact.
To capture the balance between the suspense and the humor, producer David Heyman enlisted veteran director Mike Newell.
You're trying to go back. Oh, you bloody do. Okay. Well, there's got to be some physicality in the real life.
He is amongst the foremost directors of actors, and it's important for us to keep the kids challenged, to maintain the high standards that have been set by Chris Columbus, Alfonso Cuarón, and to build on that. And we thought that Mike Newell was the right person to do that.
And
Then all you do is that and that.
He's very, very English. He wears a waistcoat every day, which I just quite like because you don't see enough waistcoats anymore, really.
He combines a real professorial quality with that of a true British public school boy. It's in his blood, and I think he brings it out very authentically in this film.
I told Hermione to tell you, Seamus told me.
In lots of ways, this is a classic English school story. All right, it's wizards and wands and magic and stuff like that, but it is nonetheless a classic English school story. And we're all brought up on those things. I share all the same references. I don't even know I'm doing it.
But that was great!
He's just a real actor's director, and where I am now in terms of acting, I just want to learn as much as possible. And he gives very, very detailed notes, which is great because that's what I need.
He gives back so much energy, and instead of sitting there in his chair watching the monitor, he's out there and he's doing it, and he's giving back energy to the actors, and I think he's great.
He's so funny. He's completely crazy.
Once in a while, it was really worth being a clown in front of those people because there's no point in me being an authority figure. You don't get anything out of people that way.
He treated them very much as equals, but he also, he treated them as actors. He was the director, they were the actors, and he was treating them as partners in the process, but he was very much the taskmaster and encouraging them. He saw in them what they could achieve and really elicited the very best from them.
Just have a look at this, all of you, because this is how it's roughly speaking supposed to work.
We talked a lot about how Harry is in this film and sort of the nature of his character and what he's going through and what that would make him feel. And so just through talking about him, we discovered things. So it really was good working with him, particularly from a kind of performance point of view.
Glance or two at Hagrid.
He's got a very inclusive notion of directing. He walks on the set in the morning and says, "This is what I imagine we're going to do today. This is what I'd like us to do today." I just talk you all through it. And then he goes off for a cup of tea, and then 10 minutes later we do our best to do it.
Is this your script? Wow. I genuinely think he's brilliant. He's so creative. He's really passionate about making this the best film, and he won't settle for anything less.
Noel found inspiration in his young stars.
I found each of them funny, just because they were such kind of peppery and vinegary, and each of them has a very strong individual taste. I enjoyed that about them.
Coming up, Hogwarts hosts a Triwizard Tournament. The Goblet of Fire chooses its champions, and Harry is swept up in the adventure by a surprise twist of fate. And still to come, an exclusive scene from the new movie when Inside Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire returns. Nightmares and a burning scar pass like a bad dream with Harry's return to school. Within the safe boundaries of Hogwarts' magnificent walls, Harry has lived through his greatest adventures and happiest times. But still, there is foreboding.
In the last three films, Hogwarts has kind of been like a safe house because it's kind of been impenetrable. This one, the walls have been broken down, and yeah, he's not as safe as he used to be.
But for Daniel, Emma, and Rupert, the return to set after a brief hiatus between films was like homecoming.
It feels like the school term started. It's really nice, actually. You really do find that after being away, you miss people, and it's really nice to come back and see them again.
Because the films take so long to do, and because we come back within a few months to do the next one, it is kind of like everyone's been away for the summer. And somebody's left school, and somebody's got a car, and somebody's changed their hair car. And, it is like that.
Changes are also in store for the students at Hogwarts with the return of the Triwizard Tournament.
The Triwizard Tournament is an ancient magical tournament that's gone back a very long time.
The Triwizard Tournament hasn't come to Hogwarts for over 100 years due to a distressingly high death toll.
Joining Hogwarts in the tournament are rival schools of magic Beauxbaton of France and Durmstrang of Bulgaria.
When the Beauxbaton girls arrive, the Hogwarts boys are in a state of shock. They've never seen anything like this. These elegant, incredibly beautiful French girls walking down the hall is something that renders Ron in particular speechless. And I think we all remember that feeling.
These girls certainly know how to impress an English school by their entrance.
Durmstrang are no less impressive.
They arrive fierce, cool, cold, male, in contrast to the distinct femininity of the Beauxbaton. And they're quite austere and intimidating.
If the competition was going to work, then the schools had to be very distinct. So the French school had to be more French than you could imagine a French school being. The Eastern European school had to be more kind of than you had ever imagined that they could be.
The Goblet of Fire will choose a single champion from each school who will face 3 magical tasks. Challenges so dangerous that wizards under 17 are forbidden to compete. For once, 14-year-old Harry can let someone else be the hero.
I think Harry's always yearning to forget his past, even though he saved so many people. He sort of wants the celebrity thing to end.
But other students are more than interested to take their stab at fame. The Goblet calls forth its champions.
The Hogwarts champion, Cedric Diggory!
Cedric is the kind of golden boy. He is the archetypal superhero who does get the girl and things, which is a contrast to Harry. I think works fantastically well.
Cedric's a pretty nice guy. He plays fair and he sticks to the rules like he should.
Rob, who is this gorgeous golden boy, I look at him and I say, you're the junior officer who goes over the top on the first day of the Somme. You're so good looking and so English public school and so sort of shy and so forth.
The Dubstep champion is Victor Krum.
Well, Victor Krum is the Bulgarian seeker. He's a really good player. He's sort of worshipped by other players.
He's a real kind of man's man, really tough, strong, brave, and fantastic at sports and things like that.
The champion for both battles is Fleur Delacour.
The character Fleur is completely beautiful, and all the boys kind of fall completely head over heels in love.
In a way, she is what English think a French girl would be. I mean, she's very chic and very, Miss Perfect all the time. Quite graceful and quite serious as well.
The Goblet could not have picked a more inspiring group of combatants.
We now have our 3 champions.
And then the Goblet delivers an unexpected turn.
This is bad news, but there's no way around it. He has to compete.
For Harry, it's a disaster. He's in way over his head. He's too young and inexperienced. And what's more,
there are some who believe that Harry engineered this and put his own name into the cup.
Would anyone believe that he didn't do it?
I didn't ask for this to happen, Ron.
But alone as Harry feels, he finds an unexpected ally in Hogwarts' new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Mad-Eye Moody.
I think that he's somebody who chased the demons away from goodness to such an extent that he got quite warped by it.
Moody is an Auror, a dark wizard catcher. He was a great wizard in his time, but his paranoia has him balancing on the knife's edge of madness, seeing dark wizards around every corner.
Ron really likes him. He's just crazy and completely mental, which he really likes.
Mad-Eye Moody is one of these people who tells it how he sees it and is very honest and very blunt about things.
Mad-Eye Moody steps beyond what is proper, does not always know what is appropriate.
Professor Moody, what are you doing?
Teacher. He is quite ferocious at times, but at the same time is lovable. You can understand his appeal, and he is keeping a watchful eye on Harry.
To play Moody, the filmmakers turned to the great character actor Brendan Gleeson.
What appealed to me about him was the fact that he reminded me of some of the teachers of the old school, that whole notion of tough love and all that kind of thing. And I can remember some people from my own past who would have come close to where Mad-Eye has ended up.
There is some kind of elemental quality to him, which is part savagery and part kind of wide-eyed innocent. And those two are very finely balanced in Brendan.
And if the students at Hogwarts found Moody to be a real shock to the system, his real-life alter ego Brendan could be quite a handful himself.
He would say, look, there's a great bit in the book, and you'd think, yeah, Brendan, okay, fine. I know about the book. The book is 750 pages. I've got 120. What do you want? But you'd then look at it and you'd think, no, actually, maybe he's right there.
He's a really, really nice guy, and it's such a great part as well, and he does it absolutely terrifyingly.
If Brendan was to truly embody the part, they needed to create the look as well.
We took a lot of trouble getting him right, making the makeup and the costume work.
The key was Mad-Eye's magic eye.
There's something odd wrong with the peripheral vision to his left side. The doctors don't quite know what's wrong, but he's made this magic eye for himself that can see out through the back of his head and see in various different directions.
Thank you.
What a charismatic quartet.
Another new character on the scene is the meddlesome reporter, Rita Skeeter.
What a lovely name, Rita Skeeter.
Rita Skeeter.
So?
She's the worst sort of tabloid journalist who just will write whatever she wants to write, not what is true.
Lovely. I call her the caring, sharing face of investigative journalism. Very basically she'll do whatever it takes to get the story which she's already pre-written in her head, which in the case of Harry does have an element of truth to it.
No one else could play her apart from Miranda. She's brilliant.
Rita's constant companion is a magical pen with a mind of its own.
Rita uses quick quote scroll, which means that she has her hands free and all her concentration can be on the person in front of her, which is mostly Harry.
His classmates are tormenting him. His friends have deserted him. His steps are dogged by a muckraking reporter, and someone is out to get him.
Harry's life is out of his hands. He has no control really over where it's going. And so I think that's a big thing for Harry, because it completely, as it would anyone, unsettles him, and so he kind of loses control of it.
The only thing that seems certain is that Harry's one-time triumphs over giant trolls and deadly snakes will pale against the tasks before him now.
Not a good year for Harry. Doesn't have many good years, really.
Next up, Harry faces the challenges of the Triwizard Tournament. And still to come, an exclusive clip from the movie, when inside Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire...
Yes? What do you suggest, Minerva?
Put an end to it. Don't let Potter compete.
Once again, Harry's back is against the wall, and every card in the deck is stacked against him. Thrust unwillingly into the Triwizard Tournament, he now must face 3 terrifying magical tasks without the experience of the other champions, and only his wand to protect him. And this time, the stakes are higher than ever.
They're all kind of potentially fatal tasks.
First up is a test of daring. The nature of the test is a closely held secret, for courage in the face of the unknown is an essential quality of a great wizard.
Dragons! That's the first task. You're joking.
Luckily for Harry, secrets unravel quickly in the wizarding world.
Everyone cheats in the Triwizard Tournament. It's like an unofficial rule. Hagrid, who knows about the dragons, forewarns Harry about the dragons.
Well, he's not really heads on. There's only one of the events. It's a game of 4 halves, you know. His main concern is that Harry survives. He doesn't care if Harry wins or not. I think he just wants Harry to live.
Cards? All right, very good. One more, please.
Of course, with this task, living is very much up in the air.
Harry steps out into the arena and is immediately attacked by this dragon.
He can breathe fire like any dragon, but also his tail can cut a building in two and come right forward in front of his head, kind of like a scorpion. Scary stuff.
It's a very good, savage creature. Of course, the dragon exists only in the distorted mind of some computer creator. But nonetheless, he's brilliant.
And jump!
It was very, very physical, which I enjoyed in some of the stunts. Some of the stunts were a bit scary, but fine.
Without the magical skills of his fellow champions, Harry relies on nerves. And the one skill that sets him apart from everyone else.
Harry's forced to conjure his broom, at which point the dragon manages to escape from the tether of the chain and flies off in pursuit of him.
The stunts became even more intense with the dragon chase far above the Triwizard Arena and into the rooftops of Hogwarts.
I was on a wire and I fell, I think, 40 feet, and quite very, very fast actually. That was really, really terrifying, and I'm not afraid to admit that. That was really scary. Anyone would be scared, I'm convinced.
And then you get a much more mysterious task of the second one, which all takes place underwater, with certainly some pretty dangerous creatures that kind of sting you and pull at you.
So, champions, you may begin now!
4 champions have to dive into the water and swim deep, deep, deep to retrieve something that is most dear to them.
The actors perform their own stunts at a specially built, state-of-the-art production tank at Leavesden Studios, the largest tank in Europe.
I'm a terrible swimmer, and really, really bad. I cannot swim at all, but a lot of the stuff you'll see in the film, I'm proud to say, is actually me. all the shots where you see my face, that face hasn't been superimposed onto anyone.
Luckily, Dan rose to the challenge in the way that he generally does. So he's absolutely fearless. Dan can swim better underwater than he can on the surface, in fact. For him especially, he bore the brunt of it as ever. And to act properly underwater, only be able to contain 30 seconds worth of breath in his lungs at any one time, and stay underwater sometimes for an hour and a half or 2 hours at a time, is just incredible.
Emma Watson also got her feet wet in the Leavesden tank.
I think it really does pay off, because nothing they could do with special effects would look as real as it does when you're doing it on camera.
Champions, prepare yourselves.
The third task is an enchanted maze, a test of character. Can the champion hold on to himself when everything around him is lost?
And the last one really is creepy. It's like being in a cemetery at night and you get lost and you get freaked by being lost.
The maze is giant, 20, 30, 40 feet high, and it runs down paths which seem like they'll never end. And there is times within where you don't know if you'll ever get out.
It's such a scary concept, and there's smoke coming out of the hedges, and it's all very dark, and it's great, yeah.
The maze is not what it appears to be. It very much comes to life. The maze is a place where you are in danger of losing yourself.
We start to get lost, we change personalities. It becomes difficult to understand what's actually happening.
It's the isolation and the fear about not knowing what's behind the next corner, and you don't really care who's your friend. There's only one thing which you know is in there, which is the cup, and you know once you've got the cup, it ends.
It does remove you from the world that you know completely. It's like it reduces you to your animal components, and you become savage and inhuman.
In each of the tasks, Harry demonstrates the nerves, cunning, and character of a great wizard, and yet each one seems to carry him closer to Voldemort's plan.
Suddenly, the hand of Voldemort reaches out and snatches him. It's as if, a tumbler on a lock falls with each task. The door opens and there is the villain.
He's a very vulnerable, fragile hero who is incredibly afraid of things and of Voldemort. So he's not the all-conquering brave hero at all.
Next up, Harry faces an unexpected task. And still to come, an exclusive clip from the new movie, when inside Harry Potter and the Goblet phenomenon settled in on the young cast. The seasoned veterans noted their younger cohorts striking cool new poses and exhibiting a new awareness of the opposite sex. Yes, the young cast members had become teenagers.
You noticed subtle little shifts in interests and attitudes and different ways of groupings, and then suddenly girls. The I hate girls, they always scream when you pull their hair, has suddenly been changed, the old hair gel's going in, and a lot more leaning on things in that very bored way, which I wish I could do, but I haven't been able to do since about 1964.
They're all shooting up, and their voices have got deeper, I think. Deeper, certainly deeper than mine, I think. But it's wonderful, really.
I see them, their interest in music, their interest in the opposite sex, their interest in culture and art, in friends, in how they communicate with people. They communicate with us, with me, for example, as an equal.
Those changes can be seen on screen as well. Harry, Ron, and Hermione experience their own teen drama, particularly as they discover the opposite sex. This takes center stage with the Yule Ball.
The Yule Ball is first and foremost a dance.
The Yule Ball is sort of centerpiece of the film. It's when the various schools come together to dance and celebrate Christmas.
The Yule Ball is fast approaching, and Harry doesn't have a date.
Why do they have to travel in packs? How are you supposed to get one on their own to ask them?
In fact, given the choice between asking a girl to the Yule Ball and battling a Hungarian horntail, a second round with the fire-breathing dragon doesn't seem like such a hardship.
All these really cold looks from it, from all the girls, it's just so reminiscent of real life. I think it's the truest scene we've had in the film so far. What annoys me about a lot of heroes in films is the way they do always endlessly get the girl. And I spend no time getting the girl. It just happens. Whereas in the film, Harry spends most of the film trying to get the girl. That's what's so great about him. He's not an archetypal hero.
For the first time, the opposite sex comes across his radar, and it's not easy. It never is easy, never will be easy. But this is their first experience of it.
This is mad. At this rate, we'll be the only ones on a year without dates.
We find it really hard to find a date, and it takes us ages. And it's sort of getting a bit embarrassing because everyone else is getting dates. Even like Neville, he's got a date. So this sort of puts us down a bit.
With girls giggling and shrieking in the corridors, everyone seems obsessed by the Yule Ball. Even Hermione seems on edge.
Wait, Hermione? You're a girl.
Very well spotted.
Come with one of us. It's not wrong.
Believe it or not, someone's asked me.
Gone are the days when Ron could discount Hermione out of hand as a bossy know-it-all.
You're going to take someone's eye out.
We find out that Hermione has actually been asked to the ball by Victor Crumb, much to the disappointment and ire of Ron Weasley, who clearly has a bit of a crush on Hermione.
And at the beginning films, you sort of sense like a sort of relationship between them two. And I guess he's sort of jealous of her because he's going out with like his favourite sort of sports star, Crumb.
She looks beautiful.
The atmosphere, when they enter, changes completely. She's completely transformed. Well, she's pretty already.
Emma was never ugly. So, she's always been quite beautiful. So, I mean, I was kind of like, wow, you're just even more beautiful. Obviously, it's a huge moment in the film, and it is a big transformation, but for me, I'm kind of like, well, I've seen you at premieres, so it's great.
Of course, Harry knows exactly who he wants to go with.
He falls completely in love with this person. He's not even a crush. He loves her.
Katie is in part Cho Chang, and you just feel it. You can understand why Harry would be smitten with her. Katie is just adorable.
He asks her to the ball, and he does it incredibly without any kind of tact. He kind of shouts it out like,
Cho?
Yes?
I just wondered if maybe you want to go to the ball with me.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I feel really sorry for him because I know how it feels to be kind of standing there and having nothing to say, and because the hormones sort of drive you to extremes in those kind of particularly when it's the first girl you ever fancy or have a crush on.
Parcel for you, Mr. Weasley.
Asking the girl is only step one in the gauntlet of humiliation in line for the boys.
My mum sends me my outfit for the Yule Ball, which is you got to wear like these sort of fancy dress robes, and mine is just it's horrible. It's like pink lace all over. It's covered in like flowers and that.
To dance is to let the body breathe.
Dance lessons are an even more nerve-wracking experience.
Dancing was hysterical, absolutely hysterical. I loved them.
It's a good fun to do. I enjoyed learning to waltz, which I've never done before.
This is a really sort of new thing to me. I never really especially that sort of dancing.
We had Wayne, the choreographer, and his lovely assistant. They were absolutely marvellous, and they'd teach these kids to dance, some of whom could, and some of whom, by God, could not.
Place your right hand on my waist.
Where?
My waist.
We were having a dance lesson, and Professor McGonagall asked me up to help her show everyone how to dance.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. I had to try to teach Rupert, Ron Weasley, to dance the other day. That was pretty strenuous.
We had to waltz around in front of everyone. It was a bit embarrassing.
For Harry, the pressure is worse still because the ball begins with a ceremonial dance.
It's traditional that the 3 champions, well in this case 4, are the first to dance. Surely I told you that?
No.
Oh, well now you know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I knew I was going to have to dance in front of everyone else. It was so terrifying. You trust me, don't you? Wait, then
You can see dear old Dan, who works his ass off at absolutely everything, and at the minute, at any rate, God did not necessarily mean him to be a ballroom dancer, and it's just very funny, because of course that's the character's dilemma.
I would have liked to be very impressive. In my mind, I could see myself, everyone going, oh, he's such a good dancer. Wow. And it didn't happen.
I think what Mike wanted was that he didn't actually want us to know very well. He wanted it to be just really truthful. He didn't want us to all get up and do it perfectly. He actually wanted the camera to pick up and the fact that none of us had a clue what we were doing.
Director Mike Newell challenged the production designers to transform the Great Hall into an unforgettable setting for the Yule Ball.
I knew that what had to happen is that something had to change completely, but I had no idea what to do. And then Stuart simply came to me one day and said, I think we should have an ice cave.
Stuart Craig made the whole Great Hall silver, covered in silver and ice.
The fire burned ice, the lamps burned with icy flames, and the whole thing, of course, looked like it had been created by Swarovski crystal.
With these exquisite designs, the stage is set for a stunning transformation. Even Hagrid is bitten by love.
One of the visiting school's headmistress, Madame Maxine, who is 10 foot tall. Now Hagrid is 8'6", and of course they just da-da-da-da-da. The dancing that I do with Madame Maxine, it was done very, very cleverly in a way that I cannot possibly reveal. But the fact that I'm not Nureyev will not be apparent to the naked eye.
May I have your arm?
Leg?
Yours.
With Harry's teen years come not just a mystification with the opposite sex, but also a new awareness, a sudden insight that adults don't have all the answers, and that your closest friends can be your most heartfelt rivals.
I didn't put my name in that cup. I don't want eternal glory. I just want to be... He is becoming a teenager, and so I think he is more angry in this one because he won't settle for no as being an answer.
Even Harry's closest friendship is rattled by teenage angst.
Hagrid's looking for you.
Well, you can tell Ronald...
I'm not an owl!
I wouldn't say he treats the people around him badly. He treats them as anyone under incredible stress would treat them. He just kind of lashes out from time to time. Oh, finally caught on, have you? It took you long enough.
Hermione spends most of this film worrying about those two and just being the kind of girl in between going, oh, please don't fight. Just make up. Let's be mature about this.
Look, Harry, we can do this. The three of us can figure it out.
But nothing prepares Harry for his new teenage insight into the limitations of his greatest protectors.
I'm afraid there are no easy answers, Harry.
Dumbledore says, look, I don't know where this come from, I'm very sorry. And Harry kind of does.
Only once has someone survived Avada Kedavra, and bears a lightning bolt scar for his trouble. Voldemort, his would-be assassin, was reduced to a thing barely alive. 13 years have passed. His followers have stood by long enough. And now the unthinkable happens.
The storm that is coming is there. Voldemort has returned.
His devout followers, called Death Eaters, herald his return.
The people who are bad, they're irredeemably bad. They're not very nice. And when they pretend to be nice, it's because they're pretending. Because underneath it, they're the followers of the Dark Lord, who is the most evil creature on earth.
The Dark Mark calls them back to the fold. Chief among his followers is Lucius Malfoy, the father of Harry's longtime enemy, Draco.
He's been praying for Voldemort's return for a very long time. This is my paradise scenario. I don't normally get to go out like this during the day, and when you put this stuff on, and you put this beautiful, long, stately robes on and fern, particularly when I grab that cane with the snake head at the top, I just suddenly become incredibly unpleasant.
Peter Pettigrew, called Wormtail, betrayed Harry's parents 13 years back, and now is Voldemort's key attendant.
Pettigrew has found himself being the Batman, cook, chef, valet, bottle feeder. He nurtures Lord Voldemort, and he keeps his blanket warm.
Wormtail is a study in despicable behavior.
Because of the whole look, the suit and the hair, and the teeth, I just started to feel that the character's natural stance would be kind of rat-like, you know, or ready to be in some way sort of creepily subservient.
But for Harry, the real nightmare is Voldemort.
Enemies doesn't quite do it justice, because at the same time as hating him with every fibre of his being, Harry is also absolutely terrified of him.
The Dark Lord shall rise.
Ever since the beginning, I've thought of Ray Fiennes as Voldemort.
Is it Voldemort? He's really quite terrifying. It's going to really freak people out. I'm really looking forward to that.
Mike was very keen to explore the unexpected mood swings of Voldemort. So there are moments when sort of anger spits out at him like Harry, and other moments when it can be very silky and smooth and almost pleasant.
The way he used his body, like he does all this stuff when he's being reborn with his hands, and it's fantastic.
He's new in this body, it's new to him, so he's testing it. So when we first see him touching, feeling his head, feeling his face, his eyes pop open.
Everything's going to change now, isn't it? Ow! You stood on my foot!
Daniel, Emma, and Rupert have grown up on film. They've worked with some of the finest actors in the world and become better actors for it. They faced legions of adoring fans and yet held on to their humility.
All as sweet and even sweeter, possibly, if it's possible, than they were on the first film. They are good people, each and every one of them.
I have made very good friends with them, but I would like some female company occasionally.
Emma has matured, grown more comfortable in herself, become more confident. She's more outgoing and really caring for those around her.
We got on really well, and they've made it so fun, Dan and Emma.
And Rupert, funny, witty, droll. He has the humour of someone 20 years older than he is.
Rupert is absolutely hysterical. He is so funny. And Emma is amazingly clever.
Dan is completely unaffected by his fame, by all the attention, is able to do these really significant exams, study for them, and take on this most physical of all the films, this most challenging of all the films.
It's wonderful, really. It's very good to see them change like that.
I'm terribly impressed with them. I continue to be impressed with them.
Daniel and Rupert and Emma are 3 movies better and more skilled. You can really see the leaps they've taken as actors and as technicians just being comfortable around a film set.
Now, an exclusive peek at the new movie.
Give us a curse.
Well, my dad did tell me about one. The Imperious Curse.
Oh, yeah, your father would know all about that. Gave the ministry quite a bit of grief a few years ago. Perhaps this will show you why. Hello. Ugly little beauty. Ingorgio. Imperio!
Don't worry, it's completely harmless. If she bites, she's lethal.
Harry and his friends are growing up. The stakes are higher now, but they rise to the challenge. They always do. With the Goblet of Fire opening in IMAX theaters and on screens all around the globe, audiences everywhere can thrill in Harry's greatest adventure yet. I love magic.
Where would you find a flying pig guarding an enchanted castle surrounded by an ancient forest that's only been here for 2 days? Welcome to the world of Harry Potter. We've come behind the scenes during filming of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the 6th film in the series. And the most exciting thing this year is, I'm going to be in it!
In this special programme, we'll be talking to cast and crew about the stories behind the story, meeting some new faces, being put through our paces in some Quidditch training, and in a World TV first, we'll be going where no other show can, onto the set and into the film, as I take on the role of a Harry Potter film extra. But first, let's catch up on what happens in this eagerly awaited chapter of the Harry Potter story. Voldemort is tightening his grip on both the Muggle and Wizarding worlds, and Hogwarts is no longer the safe haven it once was. Harry suspects that dangers may even lie within the castle.
Once again, I must ask too much of you, Harry.
Together, he and Dumbledore work to find the key to Voldemort's power.
Now get out of here at once!
Peter's also on elsewhere as teenage hormones rage across the ramparts.
Hey, she's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
Love may be in the air, but tragedy lies ahead. And Hogwarts may never be the same again.
Harry's character is obsessed in this film with two things. One is Draco Malfoy, who is convinced has become a Death Eater, and so he follows him. And he's absolutely sure that Draco is up to something really devious in this film. The other thing is a book, which is his potions textbook, which he's got a very, very old copy, and it's got lots of scrawls in it of someone who used the book ages ago. And the book has a bit in it where it says, "This book is property of the Half-Blood Prince," hence the title of the film.
Who's the Half-Blood Prince? Who? That's what it says right here. This book is property of the Half-Blood Prince.
And so part of it's about Harry's obsession with this book and the fact that he kind of won't be parted from it. He's kind of addicted to it.
Let's have a look, shall we?
No. I think this one's a lot lighter than the last one because I think the fifth one was quite a scary sort of atmosphere. And you still get this with this one because there's a lot of sort of scary things going on in the Muggle world now. You definitely sort of sense the Voldemort sort of presence. And there's quite a lot of romantic sort of storylines in this one, so it should be quite fun.
Hermione's a mess in this one. She's not the best in potions anymore because Harry's got this special book, and Ron's off snogging Lavender somewhere, and that's kind of rubbish. She's getting all these feelings and she doesn't really know how to deal with them. She's definitely struggles. Yeah, she's out of her depth in this one, which is really nice because you see a kind of much more vulnerable Hermione, I think.
And the film sees Harry's old adversary Draco Malfoy rising to a dark challenge.
He's always envied Harry for being the all-seeing, all-dancing chosen one, so this is his chance to be the equivalent on the dark side, so he revels in it.
There are over 80 different sets on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, some that we know and love, some that are new, some that are inside, some that are outside, and some that are supposed to be outside but have been built inside, like this one, Diagon Alley. Diagon Alley was originally seen in the first film, The Philosopher's Stone, but in these darker times in the Wizarding world, most of the shops are now boarded up. This is the street in which I'll be working as an extra, so while they get it finished, I'm off for a fitting with costume designer Shani Taneem.
So Shani, I've come in for my costume fitting. I understand you know which character I'm going to be.
Yes, you're going to be an extra in Diagon Alley, one of the dad.
One of the parents.
One of the parents, and one of the dad going to buy books.
That's right.
To buy books or to buy things with their kids.
We still have some children.
So let me explain you. Because Diagon Alley, we just have the normal public of Diagon Alley. This is just the male, because you are in the male dressing room.
Of course,
so This is all the male that we have in Diagon Alley. So Diagon Alley start a little bit like Soho, and then go up to sort of Oxford Street feel.
So I'm at the Oxford Street
feel? Yes, because you are one of the dad.
The respectable dads. So I'm going to have to fit in with these guys.
Yes, so because you are sort of a good-looking man, I'm going to try to dress you slightly down. Then you will fit with what we think is a wizard dad.
Okay, wizard dads aren't very good-looking?
He could be very good-looking, but not as glamorous as you are.
I've never been called glamorous before. And my clothes over here.
So let me show you. Everything will be those colors, because the whole street is in the grey. Grey, green, grey, blue. All the colors have all the colors have a grey base. And what I would like to see you in black.
Right.
Or in brown. I would like to see you all like that, or like that, because I think that First, it will fit you very well.
Right.
Second, it will fit with the rest
Yes.
of the shop and the rest of the extras.
And it's got to blend in with them as well. I can't say
Yes,
that.
you do. You cannot be that special.
Sure.
You will be special, like each one of our extras, but you won't be that special. Let me look at you, Ben. It is our sort of wizard, and it is not yet made for you. When we will finish the trouser, when we will, steam everything, make it on your size, make it really all perfect, it will be beautiful. Believe me.
Now we just need to audition my children.
Oui. Next step.
Coming up after the break, we discover how the filmmakers did this to one of London's most famous landmarks. And we meet the new potions professor, who may hold the key to the secret of Voldemort's power. In every Harry Potter film, there's a new professor, and the filmmakers have hoovered up some of Britain's finest acting talent in casting them. Now, I've come down today to meet Professor Slughorn, who's Hogwarts' new potions master, and I've been told to hang around here. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there.
Professor Slughorn is someone who years ago was the potions master at Hogwarts and is the person that Dumbledore recruits this year to come back, not only to teach potions, but also because Dumbledore thinks that Slughorn has information on Voldemort that he is too ashamed to admit to knowing. And Dumbledore sort of uses Harry as bait in a way, because Slughorn's obsessed with the idea of fame and power. And so Harry is sort of the most famous, certainly young kind of wizard of his time, is the perfect sort of ploy to get Slughorn back to Hogwarts, because Slughorn would want to be around someone like Harry.
Horace.
And Slughorn makes an unusual first appearance in the film.
Dumbledore and Harry come into this house that has obviously been ransacked, and there is a purple striped armchair, and Dumbledore performs a bit of magic, and out of that armchair evolves Horace Slughorn, who has disguised himself as an armchair. So there's a bit of special effects
In
straight
lavender
off.
purple pyjamas.
In lavender, in the same material as the armchair. It's a very good entrance to a film.
Merlin's beard! No need to disfigure me, Albus.
So how do you get a chair to turn into an actor?
Working with an actor like Jim Broadbent, it just seemed the logical thing to let him drive the performance rather than come up with a slightly cartoony sort of caricature in terms of a chair.
Here's a mega $1 million Hollywood movie, and we basically put him on a plank of wood and sit him on this plank of wood. Well, it's a little bit more elaborate than a plank of wood. But it's kind of a plank of wood.
It's a shiny plank of wood.
It's a shiny plank of wood with two guys operating it. And it sort of springs him up. I just said to Jim, you know what? Imagine you're a chair and then you're turning out of a chair and you have to shake all this fabric off. And he did this rather eccentric, crazy, quite funny acting transformation from a chair to a human, all in a performance.
And of course that was great, because from there, using our designs of what we wanted the chair to look like, we then started animating on top, rotoscoping his performance, then looking at how the actual chair itself would shrink and come back into his true proportions. And just working off him seems to suggest that actually using cloth as a interesting technique would be quite a good way of resolving the chair and turning the fabric of the chair itself into the pyjamas that he was wearing.
Creating a visual effect is a process which involves filtering ideas from many different departments into one end result.
Sometimes you start off with some particular view in mind, but by the time you get to the end, it's gone through many iterations and turns out to be something quite different, because you've either discovered something new en route, or you've discovered something that you thought would work, it doesn't work, and it's not very comfortable, it's not very funny, or it looks like a visual effect. And so it is a very subjective journey that we take.
Horace's weakness is that he has a sort of softness for stars.
You recognise Barnabas Cuff, of course, editor of the Daily Prophet.
He will do anything to get some star names under his wing.
He likes collecting them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he likes collecting them. So it doesn't take much tempting to come back in a way.
All right, I'll do it. But I want Professor Merrythorpe's old office, not the water closet I had before. And I expect a raise. These are mad times we live in, mad.
They are indeed.
And it's not just mad times in the wizarding world. There's panic on the streets of London as Voldemort's soldiers, the Death Eaters, attack the Millennium Bridge. Even the makers of Harry Potter to have the budget to destroy the bridge for real, so they sent a team down there to film images that would later be incorporated into this extraordinary sequence.
During the actual destruction of the bridge, obviously we start replacing more and more of the real elements, so we have to take the real bridge out and replace it with the CG bridge. We've actually replaced the Thames as well with CG water so that we get all of the real interaction between the bridge collapsing into the water and the splashes and things. And of course, ultimately at the end, we've actually replaced all the people on the bridge with CG characters running away from the destruction.
There were just under 1,500 special effects in the film, and constant developments in the processes used have enabled the filmmakers to pursue ever more ambitious results.
Danny Quidditch, for example, is in this film better realised than I think we've ever had it. I think it feels more real than ever before. Technology's improved. I think our knowledge of visual effects has improved, and I just think it feels really, really real.
But how they film Quidditch before it actually hits the technology is still a closely guarded secret. Or is it?
Basically, it's no main secret other than for a man, if you imagine sitting on a bicycle and taking your feet off the pedals and off the ground and just hanging there and then leaning forward, and with all the repercussions that has, then you get
what are you getting at then?
Well,
balance is difficult.
Balance is very, very difficult, and also certain very, very important organs are crushed.
Comfort.
Yeah, so the comfort levels are not high.
This is Ron's first outing in the Quidditch arena, and he eventually emerges as quite a star.
I've always fancied sort of having a go on a broom.
Yeah, being a hero.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a anticlimax when I first sat down, because it's quite painful for one. It's because you are actually just sitting on a broom, and it does, when you're up there for a few hours, it does quite get a bit painful, and but no, it's going to look really cool.
Davey wanted a comedy aspect to this one, so we had to come up with different gags, different ideas of flying, and different falls, for comedy falls. And Quidditch, when they're flying up there, and obviously on these rigs at the Quidditch arena, we've come up with a Russian swing that we've been using and launching off that.
So what on earth is a
Russian swing? Is just a great big swing, which you swing back when it falls, and on the number 3, the guys just launch. I mean, we can get up there on that, but we had a big one made for Quidditch for inside, and we had a smaller one made for out here just to launch them off and just let them skid across.
So
the
you
road.
swing them backwards and forwards, 1, 2,
3,
off you go. Let them go.
Yeah. 58 feet was the furthest we launched one, and with a broomstick.
This sort of action is strictly left to the stunt team. For the actors, Quidditch training is somewhat less dramatic. I'm going to be given a chance to get out and do some stunt training with Greg on the trampoline.
Right.
Have you any advice for me?
I had to do that for about a few weeks before I was allowed on a broom.
Seriously?
Yeah, you have to master all these different sort of jumps, like tuck jump.
That's like jumping and bringing your knees up.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old cousin can do that.
it gets harder because they put you in this harness,
right?
And you're on these like bungee springs.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to be doing that, but that is quite scary.
You go really high.
You go about 30 foot in the air.
Whoa!
And I don't know if you'd be holding up, because I was holding a broom and they were throwing balls at me, and I had to sort of save all these. It's quite scary.
Hey, 3.
I didn't really enjoy that part. Good luck, anyway.
I'm kind of going to need it.
I understand this is where the Quidditch training takes place.
It starts here.
It starts here.
It starts here. We get all the kids in, and we basically just play with them on the trampoline, on the floor, in the gym, just to get some movement and some timing.
And these are obviously the equivalent of the quaffle, or...
Correct, yeah. Just a softer version for this, just in case it catches you in the face and that.
So look, you've got a harness up there as well.
Yeah, this is what we start everyone, all the people who's been playing Quidditch, we start them in that just to get them bouncing up and down so they're safe. If they make a mistake, we can just hold them off the tram.
Excellent.
Dave, just come down, we'll take your shoes off and we'll put you up in the harness. This is good.
Start ringing the bells.
That's it, good. Trying to catch him on the nose.
Which I do quite often.
Not the nose I'm worried about, Greg.
What's your nose this time?
Here it comes.
It's going to take a lot more than practice to get me match fit. I think I'm going to need some of this.
It's a curious little potion known as Felix Felicis, but it is more commonly referred to as...
Liquid luck.
Yes, Miss Granger. Liquid luck. Desperately tricky to make, disastrous should you get it wrong. One sip and you will find that all of your endeavours succeed. At least until the effects wear off.
Now, this is a wonderful set, one of the many wonderful sets, Dan, but can you just tell us what's going on?
Basically, in this scene, this is the first time we see Slughorn teaching, and we're all making potions, and it's a notoriously difficult potion to make, and we're competing with each other to win a bottle of this stuff called Felix Felicis, which is liquid luck, which means if you take it, all your endeavours will succeed. And so we're all competing to get it, and Harry follows the scrawled instructions of the Half-Blood Prince in his book and makes the perfect potion.
How did you do that?
You crush it, don't cut it.
No. The instructions specifically say to cut.
No, really.
Now then, how are you?
I'm alright, how are
Not
you?
that I'm suggesting it's not an interesting book, or even attractive, but what's going on with the hair?
This is Hermione in her final stages of potion madness, and she's meant to look a little bit like Medusa at this point. Hermione really, really, really wants to be the best and make the best potion so that she can win the prize, which is this little vial of liquid luck. She just gradually gets more and more frustrated and desperate as the scene goes on.
Because it's very unlike Hermione to be getting things wrong as well.
Very unlike her. She hates it. She hates not being the best. Hates it.
And watching Harry doing everything against what the recipe says.
But getting it right is just too much.
He's top of the class. He's even better than you, Hermione. Slughorn thinks he's a genius. Oh.
I'm very impressed at the fact that Hogwarts, this school of witchcraft and wizardry, uses gas for their Bunsen burners. Interesting.
You can't be gas.
Very strange thing they've done. You can imagine Dumbledore on the phone through the gas board.
Yeah.
What time will he be round? You know, to check the meter.
Dark times lie ahead, and later we'll be finding out why when we meet Draco and Greyback, both working some bad magic. Plus, we'll be catching up on all the gossip and finding out who's snogging who.
Excuse me, I have to go and vomit.
But after the break, I'll be stepping into the film as an extra. I can't wait. See you in a bit.
What do you think?
I always wanted to do that. Welcome back. We're behind the magic on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I'm just heading to set where I'll be joining the cast as an extra in filming a scene, which means I'm actually going to be in the film. I was hoping that the chauffeur-driven car was for me, but it looks like I'm on the minibus.
So now we're going to set.
Okay.
What I normally tell the extras is mobile phones off on set.
Right.
No cameras, anything like that. Obviously, the etiquette of the set is keep quiet, listen to the director or to the third on the set who will give you your direction, and enjoy.
I promise I'll behave.
Good. I don't want to hear bad things.
No. In the scene, I'm playing a wizarding dad, so now seems a good time to meet my new kids. Wow, so here you are, and you're going to be in a new Harry Potter film. How does that feel?
It feels amazing.
Pretty exciting.
It feels
seeing
awesome
as
because
how
our friends are going to watch and saying, hold on, that's Marks and Giles. Olivia.
This, and I really like acting, so this is really big for me.
This could be like your big break.
Yeah, a big break, big payoff.
Big payoff? Wow, are you thinking about the money already?
Yes.
He does sound like my son. Now look, obviously it's quite exciting being down here. Who have you met so far, Jake?
Just Daniel and Rupert.
Daniel and Rupert, what was it like meeting them?
It was quite fun.
It's good. Sounds very funny. He's a great guy.
He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy. What about you, Olivia?
Met Dan and Rupert.
And were they cool?
Yeah, they were cool.
Did you have good fun with them?
Yeah, I had fun with Dan.
You had fun with Dan?
Dan's always a laugh.
Like the fact you...
Maybe I better not say it, actually.
No, you can. Go on.
She tried to pinch Dan's phone.
You tried to pinch Daniel Radcliffe's mobile phone?
No.
Did she get it?
No.
Oh, do you imagine whose phone numbers are in there?
A lot.
I think he's got Britney Spears' number, you know.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you see, you're interested now, aren't you?
Yes.
There are over 650 children working as extras on the film. They come not only from stage schools, but local schools and theatre groups too. The scale of this aspect of production alone is phenomenal, as not only do they need feeding and clothing, they all have to have school lessons between filming, even if they are only here for just one day. But that doesn't apply to me, so I'm heading straight off to the sets now that the construction workers have moved on and the paint is freshly dried.
So this is it. This is Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. This is the place where my big break's going to happen. We're going to do my scene in here. And it's just incredible. The detail, as ever, is extraordinary. All the toys. And the thing that you can't get is it actually smells like a toy shop or a sweet shop. But the thing I love more than any of it, more than the anti-gravity hats, more than the dancing chickens, more than all the sweets, is this 10-second pimple vanisher. I'm going to have me some of this. Brilliant.
Weasley's Wizard Wheezes is the shop opened by Ron's twin brothers after they left Hogwarts. It's an emporium stuffed with over 40,000 packages and boxes, which took 15 people nearly a year to design and over 50 people to create.
Now look, how extraordinary is your joke shop?
Awesome. Yeah, it's kind of freaky having like a 20-foot version of you on the set.
Especially on Moose, yeah. It's great. I mean, I think it's one of the best sets throughout the whole series, let alone just on this film.
Obviously, you've been in there and you've had a look round. Have you got a favourite thing? Have you got a favourite part of it?
I think it's a mix-up between either there's a girl, like a model of a girl being sick.
Yeah,
just keeps
puking pastels.
Yeah, puking pastels. And there's also the pimple concrete, I think.
Yeah, 10-second pimple vanisher.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I've nicked some of that. Because I think that would be
a good seller,
fortune on
yeah.
the open market.
Talking of which, I wonder how much I could get for these. But enough of this wheeler dealing. I'm wondering whether Dan's got any tips for my big screen debut.
I think you should have just sort of played him as someone who's not necessarily a wizard and just totally confused by everything around him.
Do you think so?
Good as well.
I could be confused.
Yeah, you could be totally confused face. That's very good. Yeah,
I can do surprised.
That's very similar.
I can do confused and surprised. Yeah.
There's so much going on with the hands out of shot. I don't know if you can actually see, but look,
See,
Ben doesn't do
I haven't
expression.
even noticed my bling yet as well.
I know, that's wizard bling, where it's made out of pewter rather than gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It was once a tankard.
Now, I'm not here for all of them, but there are 5 days scheduled to film this scene, which will only run in the film for 1 minute and 22 seconds.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but Ben needs you on set.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
This is it. A big moment. I'm going to go on to set now. I'm not sure you're going to get through the scout, so I'll see you on the other side.
Although I spend my working life in front of a camera, this is one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. I'm only a small part of the background action, but I just don't want to make a mistake.
Ready, and background action!
In this scene, whilst Harry, Ron and Hermione are visiting Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, we see Lavender, Ron's love interest, for the first time.
Into the cauldron, handsome!
And that's me done. I wonder what director David Yates thought of my performance.
Now look, very good. Listen, I've seen some first days, and that was one of the best I've seen. Really, very, very good. You're a real pro.
Do you think so?
Yeah, very natural, but vivid.
Which is an important part of it,
Completely,
isn't
yeah. You sort of blended into the background, but then you kind of made that character your own. So it was good. It was really natural, actually. It was perfect.
For those 5 seconds, I kind of owned
those 5 seconds.
owned it. Do you think
that was 5 seconds of Harry Potter?
Yeah, but this is what I was saying.
Prime.
I will always be in their film.
You will be in there forever. When people watch it on the telly and on satellite in years to come, you'll be there to show your grandkids. How cool is that?
So that went well.
Was Ben any good to me? He was,
It's not actually going to be used though, is it? His stuff.
He did, all right, yeah. I think so.
After the performance you're giving here today, you should be banned from all forms of media.
It's a good job we were in a joke shop, really.
It's lovely to meet him.
It was all right, yeah. I mean, nothing special, really.
Just don't think he's really cut out for the whole extra thing.
Definitely stick to presenting, yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm sure they're joking. You can make up your own mind after the break when we'll see the finished result. Plus, we'll be getting back to more serious matters as we discover how the dark forces are threatening life as we know it in the wizarding world. Welcome back. We've come behind the scenes on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Everywhere you look, there's some form of magic, the darkest of which has its roots in the orphanage at the end of this street, which is home to the young Tom Riddle.
I must admit to some confusion upon receiving your letter, Mr. Dumbledore. In all the years Tom's been here, he's never once had a family visitor. There have been incidents with the other children, nasty things. Tom, you have a visitor.
Tom Riddle grows up to become the most evil wizard of all time, Lord Voldemort. Yet his first encounter with Dumbledore only hinted at the darkness that lay within.
There's this little boy in a sort of nursing home or a boys' home, and I go and talk to him. He seems to be odd, and he's played by Ralph Fiennes' nephew.
So the actual Voldemort?
So the actual Voldemort, the young man who played by his nephew. I think it's brilliant.
When you're casting for kids, you turn every stone, you look in every direction. And Hero had done a little bit of acting before, and I was aware of him, so I thought he was an interesting kid and got him in to have a go.
You're the doctor, aren't you?
No. I'm a professor.
I think that why these films have been so successfully cast is because they're always cast for the right quality and for no other reasons. Hero is a great kid and a really good actor, and he was the right kid to play the part. The fact that his uncle is Ray Fiennes is neither here nor there. He got the part for him, Hero, completely on his own merit.
She wants me looked at. They think I'm different.
Well, perhaps they're right.
I'm not mad.
Hogwarts is not a place for mad people. Hogwarts is a school. School of magic.
It was the day job of Dave Legino that made him an intriguing choice when casting Greyback, one of Voldemort's henchmen.
It was really interesting with Dave because when I met him I did think you're just a lovely gentle bloke, but then when I talked to him about his life and his other career, I suddenly thought maybe you're not quite as gentle as I think you are.
Just explain what you do day to day, what your everyday job is.
Well, I'm a cage fighter, a professional cage fighter for the past 2 years.
Which, for anybody that might not know what cage fighting is, it's exactly what you say, isn't it? There's a cage on a stage, and you go in and you fight.
You go and so 2 men enter, and 2 men leave as well.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. And, but it's, mixed martial arts is a proper term for it, where all the combat sports in the world are combined, and you can use any technique you want.
What Dave has is an ability to switch his head to a certain angle whereby he can completely understand someone who's as ferocious and mercenary as Greyback the werewolf.
It's an extraordinary character. Tell me about Greyback. Who is he and where's he from?
Well, he's an untransformed werewolf. He feels like he's an outcast, and he's shunned by society for being a werewolf. And so rather than wanting to join in with them, he wants to infect as many people as possible, especially young children, so they grow up and being a werewolf becomes the norm.
He's a world champion kickboxer.
That's right, cage fighter, yes.
So I sort of...
In real life?
I've met him, he seems quite an amiable man, but I didn't go too near him. He looks terrifying. He looks like a shark, that sort of dead-eyed.
Piercing.
And so I stayed well away from him.
He's a big, tough guy. I could have him, you struggle. Yeah. But I've almost no idea what the guy actually looks like. Seriously? I've only seen him once.
It doesn't matter how close you get to Dave, you can't tell what's real and what's not. Even though I've met him in the flesh and he's a lovely guy and a very handsome chap and all the rest of it, I cannot look him in the eye when he's fully robed up. No, it's terrifying.
But off screen, these two have actually found something in common.
Well, I've become friends with Tom. I tell people I've got this, little blonde in my trailer, but it's actually Tom Felton. And we sit there, we both play guitar on the night shoot.
So there's him dressed as Draco, you dressed as Greyback,
and I've got my
strumming a little bit of
harmonica harness around my neck, singing some Lynyrd Skynyrd. Yeah, it's good.
That's an interesting image.
Yeah.
Not quite the Death Eater to be and the angry sort of mercenary.
No, it's a bit of a surprise because he's such a nice guy. Because I saw him in the other films, I thought, oh, what a little rat.
Yeah.
All snide. But he's really, really pleasant, and he's changed his hairstyle as well.
He has. That's acting for you, isn't it?
It's amazing what they can do.
The film sees Tom take on a significantly increased role as Draco Malfoy is given a disturbing task to perform.
For Malfoy, this film, actually, he's the flip side of Harry in a way, because he's become the chosen one. Voldemort's chosen him. So the force of evil versus the force of good is mirrored in Harry and Malfoy being the chosen one.
He doesn't have half the heart on Harry, and admittedly it's quite a different scenario he's found himself in, but it's a tricky one, and sometimes he's all for it, and other times he's petrified at the thought of it, so he's back and forth quite a lot.
Draco's mother and aunt, Bellatrix Lestrange, are so concerned for his well-being, they enlist the help of Professor Snape, played by Alan Rickman, to keep a watchful eye on him.
Professor Slughorn, sir. I just discovered this boy lurking in an upstairs corridor. He claims to have been invited to your party.
Okay, I was gate crashing. Happy?
I'll escort him out.
Is he quite daunting to work with?
It's endlessly daunting. I mean, we've been shooting today with Alan, Helena, and Michael all on the set at the same time. So
how do you deal with
daunting? Isn't the word, man, to say the least. I revel in it. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's the equivalent to watching. If you're a football fan, it's like going to watch your team live in the flesh. It's not only do you get to learn endless things. It's just a joy to watch them.
Whilst Draco's busy unsettling the peace, he's missing out on all the fun. But Ron is more than making up for it.
He gets a lot of action in this film, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does actually. Yeah, he gets Lavender. Jessie, she's really nice.
Tell us a little bit about Lavender.
Oh, Jessie Cave just brings her to life in the most deliciously unpleasant way. She's one of those girls who is like a leech.
Of course I'll wear it.
She has a crush on Ron, and she gets him in her mitts, and she won't let him go, and she's really fun, annoying and fun.
Becoming the girl who gets to kiss Ron was quite an experience for actress Jessie Cave, who plays Lavender.
It was so amazing, because I honestly came away from it being, if I don't get the part, I don't care, because I've had a screen test.
That was exciting enough.
It was, because it was almost, you've had 5 minutes of being, as if you had got the part, because you were fully in costume and you were on a real set, but also we had to improvise, which was
with Rupert.
Yeah, straight away. So we didn't even do any script bit before, and he just went straight into an improvisation.
And what did you have to do?
I just had to be, Lavender. And Ron was sitting on a sofa reading, and I had to just go bound up to him, and that was it. And so basically, within 2 minutes of getting there, I was told, right, just improvise. And so I had to come out of the room and go into the Hogwarts common room, and I was just like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing yet.
I said, Rupert, do you mind doing some improvisations with 7 different girls, all in about 3 hours? And they all have to sit on a settee with you, and they all have to be your girlfriend, and they have to it might get quite physical, Rup, and some of them are very pretty, and would you mind? And he sort of thought about it for about a second.
So you would be sat in the room, and this girl who'd never met you would have to come in and improvise as if she was Lavender. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it must have been quite nerve-wracking. But
did any of them try and kiss you?
No, they didn't. No,
they're not.
No, it was just. I think they were quite nervous, but no, it was quite. It sort of brought me back, sort of reminded me of when I was sort of auditioning. It is quite a scary experience.
When someone who hasn't done much acting before comes into a room and it's Rupert. Rupert's quite famous, obviously, and a lot of young actors get a bit starstruck, but he was brilliant with them, and there was just a natural chemistry between Rupert and Jessie.
I was really nervous actually because it's quite a scary, really uncomfortable feeling because the first one we did was in the dormitory after the Quidditch match, and the whole room was full of people, and I was standing on this like plinth, like this little stage, and no, it was quite scary. But I mean, once we sort of got into it, it's fine.
But the course of true love never runs smoothly, and not everyone is happy with Ron's new status as a love god.
Lavender is the catalyst in making Hermione realise that she actually does have feelings for Ron, and Ron finally being like, yeah, I am attractive, and I can get a girlfriend if I want to get a girlfriend.
I think Hermione sort of views Lavender as though she's kind of another species. She doesn't quite understand what Lavender is or how possibly Ron could be attracted to her.
Excuse me, I have to go and vomit.
Things come to a head between the two girls when Ron talks in his sleep, revealing his true feelings as he lies ill in the infirmary.
Emma's performance was so nuanced, so detailed, and so believable. I mean, your heart aches for her. She yearns for Ron and is rebuffed because he's just doesn't get it. There's such truth, and I suspect that she may have experienced that in her own life. It just comes across in such a tender and beautiful and truthful way.
You say you don't remember anything from that night? Anything at all?
There is something, but it can't be. I was completely boggled, wasn't I?
Typical boys, like, they'll say all of this when they're slightly drunk or slightly kind of not with it, and they'll say all of these things that really mean a lot to you, and then the next day they'll just be like, what did I say?
No.
Yeah, I've had experience in that myself. It's not very funny, I have to say. Not very funny.
Ron likes Hermione, Hermione likes Ron but can't quite express it, and Harry and Ron, not Harry and Ron, no, well, there's a whole thing that Joe hasn't written but we thought we'd add just to make the audiences a little more interested. No, there is that would be quite unexpected. Well, mind you, at the read-through, I was sitting next to Jo. She comes to each of the read-throughs, and I look at her making notes. She makes the occasional note, and she wrote this. Dumbledore had this line, and she said it was wouldn't say this. And as we're walking back to my office, she says, Dumbledore's gay. And I was like, oh my God.
That was a revelation
that
for you.
was a complete revelation.
And that's why he wouldn't have said that line.
Yeah, that's why he wouldn't have said that line.
So just to clarify, it's not Ron, but his sister Ginny Weasley who sets Harry's heart racing.
It's very complex because, of course, Ginny, as Harry's best mate's sister, it's a bit of a... It's quite a political situation between Harry and Ron. Because at the beginning of the film, Ginny's dating Dean Thomas.
Slick gear. Obviously, well, they're only holding hands.
And Ron's not happy about that at all and saying things like, well, you got to hate anyone who dates your sister just on principle. And so Harry's sort of going, oh, yeah.
Knowing that he has feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's it's quite a tricky situation, but it is a really nice part of the story.
When you read The Half-Blood Prince, did you read it and think, oh my goodness, my character ends up snogging endlessly with Harry Potter? What's that going to be like to have to film?
Yeah, I mean, when I read it, I didn't... People kind of always go, oh, did you expect that to happen? Did you always think that? And I was completely shocked when I read it, because people had already kind of read on before. Some of my friends were really quick at reading it, and they were like, oh, have you read this page? And I'm like, no, I haven't read that.
Harry and Ginny are getting closer, and Ron, the thought of his best friend and his sister is just not pleasant, should we say.
Ginny and Harry are sitting on the couch, sort of having this quite sort of romantic sort of scene. I just come in and sit between them with a bowl of pies.
And we must have done it 20 times because we couldn't stop laughing. Again, because Ron sort of sat down and said, pie?
Neither of them could say the word. It was just they just laughing before they'd even said it.
So you were the one that was corpsing?
And Rupert, me and Rupert, yeah. Bonnie a bit, but not so much. Me and Rupert.
She's professional. Come on, let's
me and
face it,
Rupert
between the three
pretty
of you.
terrible
Yeah.
at corpsing still. I've got a lot better. Rupert's awful still.
It does get quite annoying because I've ruined so many takes. Yeah, it's just there's no reason for it as well. It's just really annoying.
Do you end up apologising?
Oh yeah, I feel really bad because sort of the day just goes on and on and on.
Pie? Not for me, no.
You had to do those scenes where you do the kiss. What was that like?
Yeah, it was weird. It was actually the first scene that I filmed of the whole film. Yeah. And
So start with the hardest and then work down.
Yeah. No, it was weird. I kind of I've never done anything kind of on film like that.
Were you able to lead her through it? The old hand that you are.
I didn't really. It's weird because I did something possibly slightly stupid because I sort of assumed that because I was all right, she's going to be fine. So I didn't really think she'd be nervous. Apparently, she was very nervous, and rightly so.
I think at first, the first few takes of the rehearsals can be really weird, and it is quite awkward. But then after that, it just seems weirdly kind of just more.
You got into it.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it? Is he a good kisser? That's what they want to know.
I know, that's all they ask.
Harry needs to make the most of the good times as the darkness is closing in.
At this time, I cannot hope to destroy it alone. Once again, I must ask too much of you, Harry.
Harry and Dumbledore's relationship changes in this film from being some teacher and student to a general and a foot soldier, and Harry's totally willing to do anything he can to help Dumbledore, because I think the main difference this year is that whereas before Harry's always talked about, wanting to fight Voldemort and I'll kill him and all that. Well, he won't. But this year round, he's actually doing something towards it, and he's actually taking action under Dumbledore's instructions.
Take my arm.
What is it that Dumbledore and Harry are trying to achieve in this film? Why are they?
They're trying to achieve sort of goodness, aren't they? Trying to get rid of Voldemort, that evil pig.
Hogwarts is under threat. It's no longer the safe haven it once was. Harry does in the end find out this mysterious secret that Slughorn has been holding, and goes to tell Dumbledore, who now realizes the extent of Voldemort's evil, and he and Harry go off in search of this very vital element that could help Harry in the end overcome Voldemort.
One of the climactic scenes in the film finds Harry and Dumbledore in a vast cave, so huge that it was impossible to build a whole set large enough or find a real location. It proved to be one of the biggest challenges ever faced by the visual effects team.
The scale that he wanted to achieve was enormous, and so what we requested was a practical island to be built that the actors could work on, and the rest of it was green screen. So everything was recreated from the cave itself to the water surrounding the island and the lake they have to travel across in the boat.
How complicated was that? Because that's
Because we're on a high island that's basically made of ice, and that's all made of special effects stuff. Very dangerous. Skid on it. And they first of all suggested that I wear a harness. Being a proper theatre actor, I wouldn't dream of such a thing. So I spent a week up on this slippery mountain made of glass, me and Daniel.
Yes.
Being very butch, and we did very well, I think.
Normally green screen is not a problem in the slightest, but when you're having to imagine such a vast space for such a pivotal moment in the film, you do kind of start...
That's all they ask.
I'll be able to actually create this in my head.
It's amazing.
So even at this stage in your career, you still find that fascinating when you eventually see it?
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely.
What about the process of doing it though? Do you enjoy...
Well, that can be a pain.
Yeah.
The whole environment we've created on this particular scene is like nothing.
I think what we've done with Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts is extremely exciting.
In Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, there's some amazing new technology.
We had to come up with ways to really make this experience unlike anything that anybody has ever done before. You'll get into Gringotts, you'll come through this spectacular lobby, just like in the movies. You'll see the goblins doing their business, but not all is well in Gringotts Bank. Security has been penetrated, and Harry and his friends are in the bank, and we are caught in the middle of that action.
We can't just stand here. Who's got an idea?
It's not a brilliant one.
You get to see events in the film from another perspective. The ride picks the adventure up just after Harry, Ron and Hermione and Griphook have come through the waterfall, the Thief's Downfall. And so you see that moment, but then you're taken off in another direction on your way to the vaults.
From the very first scene you experience on the ride, where you come face to face with Bellatrix, and she sends us barreling down deeper into Gringotts Bank, facing the security trolls. Surviving that, we end up falling down deeper into the bank towards where the dragon is. We have a fire being thrown at us, and we eventually come face to face with Voldemort. That is going to be intense.
This is going to be an amazing ride with so many different levels to it. This is going to be quite scary because it's the first time the fans can really kind of experience the evil of Voldemort. And in 3D, I think that'll be quite a lot to handle.
I think after you ride Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, you're going to feel like I survived the most incredible adventure of my life.
It is going to be mind-blowing.
It's going to be absolutely awesome, and you're going to want to get back on it right away.
This is unbelievable. Emma Watson on the phone, on set, on the bed, with her shoes on.
This is a nicer rat.
Ouch. Camera. Oh. J.
1,000, take one.
Was that 1,000? Well, hey! Do I smell champagne? Irate. You'll love this. Right in my nostril.
I'll eat your nose.
There you go. Better than school, isn't it? Excuse me.
You saw nothing.
Where do you want us to go from, sir?
Cut. There are many names for you right now.
Sorry, let me. I wouldn't touch that.
I know it is now. It's very wet.
We're so annoying.
Rear and claw. I'm so sorry. Alright, back to one. I'm a plumber, really. It's my first day. I'm sorry.
That is so
Bruce, go to your left. Other left. The other left. Please don't put them on. Please. No. I have something in my teeth.
Whose hand was that? But because Harry's not very good, I felt I should play it down.
Everybody to number one, please.
I feel kind of self-conscious, not quite sure what I should be doing. I'm actually a champion.
How many times have I done it?
I don't know. It is just